Did you know your overall health depends on a microscopic layer most people have never heard of? The glycocalyx? Welcome to the Future of Vascular Health. Healthy Vessels, Healthy Future, the podcast dedicated to uncovering the hidden science behind vibrant health, longevity, and vitality. Brought to you by the Glycocalyx Research Institute, each episode delivers cutting-edge insights into microvascular health, empowering you to finally understand why you might be experiencing fatigue, brain fog, or poor circulation, even when your labs seem normal. Through actionable advice and expert interviews, you'll learn how protecting your glycocalyx can significantly improve circulation, support your heart, enhance brain function, and prevent serious vascular issues before they begin. Tune in weekly and discover how healthy vessels today create a healthier, brighter future tomorrow.
Hi, welcome back to the Future of Vascular Health. I'm Joelyn Beaver, Director of Clinical Implementation and Education, and also someone who believes that when we understand the body's design, we can radically change the experience of health. Today, I am so honored to be joined by a true pioneer in the regenerative health space, Carrie Drinkwine. Carrie is CEO and founder of the Institute of Regenerative Health and Wise Wellness Holistic Clinic. She also leads a team of certified regenerative health practitioners trained in detoxification, iridology, herbalism, and nutrition. And really, Carrie's work specializes in addressing that root cause dysfunction in everything from digestive disorders, autoimmune conditions, reproductive imbalances, and preventative care. And so that's why we're talking today, is because Carrie's mission is so deeply aligned with ours. And in her philosophy, suffering is optional and thriving is possible. And of course, we know that philosophy is centered on the idea that disease isn't something to be feared. It's a state of dis-ease, in Carrie's words, a lack of flow in the body. And when we restore that flow, we really know that healing can happen naturally. So enough talking with me. We'll dive into what it really means to get into the root cause of disease, why regenerative health creates healing, and why supplements fail. Okay, Carrie, welcome to the show. I'll stop talking.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with the foundation. Regenerative health is really starting to get its well-deserved time in the spotlight. And you've been doing this a long time. Can you tell us, or those in the audience who might not know exactly what regenerative health is, how it's different from conventional or functional medicine?
Yeah, I love this question because it really is root cause healing. We hear a lot of people saying root cause healing, but they're not actually teaching root cause healing. So what regenerative health is, when we get to the root, regenerative health is about returning the body to its natural state of vitality. We essentially, everything that is creating disease, as we call it in the Western model, I call it dis-ease, lack of ease and flow in the body, or obstruction, or the wrong environment. And it's really about understanding, how do we transform the environment around the cells? How do we transform and remove the interference, the stagnation, the toxicity that's preventing the body from doing what it's naturally designed to do? So it's really not about managing symptoms. It's not about suppressing symptoms. It's not about supplementing even, or putting holistic band-aids on symptoms. It's really about restoring the vitality at the cellular level, detoxifying the terrain, restoring the communication and the cellular energy, so the body's innate wisdom can repair itself and come back online. So what I always say is, like, at the core, regenerative health is like really asking, why did the body become sick in the first place? And then we use all these nature-based tools and your body's wisdom to clear out the causation so that we can get back into regeneration. So the body is self-repairing.
Yes. Love it. Yeah, that's exactly it. You're speaking my language. And I think that restoring it to its natural state is so important. And when you hit on that on root cause and flow and stagnation, I think it doesn't matter whether it's stagnation in the lymph, in the blood, in the emotions. It really creates a breeding ground for dysfunction and dis-ease. Can you share how restoring that flow has really become that restoring flow, restoring natural health, has become that central pillar in your clinical approach?
Yeah, so we focus first. The very first thing we focus on in the body is opening up the elimination pathways so that the flow can be restored. So many people are talking about heavy metal cleanses, parasite detoxes, all these things, but they're not actually opening up the clogged drains. And if we don't open up the drains, we can't have flow. We have stagnation. We have a swamp instead of a flowing river or a lake. So I look at what is going on in the body. What we have to look at is the accumulation of waste, toxins, chemicals, pesticides, emotions, like you mentioned, all of the things I always say, the issues manifest and get stuck in the tissues. So if we don't have a liver that can properly filter the blood, that's not clean enough. If we have kidneys that aren't filtering out lymphatic waste and we have bowels that aren't draining, we have no flow in the body. Everything is just accumulating. It's compounding. So every time you breathe in some more waste, it just stacks and accumulates inside the tissues and cells. So our whole focus is open up the drainage pathways, right? Let's fix the leaky gut that's leaking right into the terrain. Let's open up the liver, open up the bowels, get the kidneys draining, and then start to restore the vitality in the body so that the lymphatic system and the blood can flow, can be clean, can be vibrant. One of the examples I like to give is think of a bathtub. Like you put your kids in the bath after they came in from playing in the mud. The bath water looks horrendous after they're done.
It does. I have a boy. It does.
Yeah, exactly. And these are the things that we think about because it's like you put them in the bath, you take them out and you're like, whoa, that bath water's filthy. So what do? You drain it. You pull the drain and you let all that dirty water drain out and you rinse it out. Like you clean out the tub.
Yes.
That is our lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system is the sewer system of the body. If the drain is clogged, what's going to happen? It's going to drain very slowly and they're going to have all this muck and scum built up. And then the next bath, when they come in, they're coming into dirty water to begin with. Most people's cells are swimming in dirty water. And that's the biggest problem. So we actually have to open the drains to create the flow in the blood and in the lymph.
Yeah, that's so good. I love the bathtub analogy because that is perfect. I think people can all understand that. That really gives you an image of what's floating around in your system and just what is holding you back. I think that's actually a good pivot to supplements. It made me think of that because you had mentioned parasites. I actually have a few of your courses, and I'll just say on a side note, phenomenal. You explain things in such an impactful manner to where people can visualize it, just like this bathtub analogy. Love it. Let's pivot a bit to supplements. Because I think this is a conversation that you and I both hear. People are taking dozens of vitamins, still not feeling better. They hear, hey, I heard about this. And the reason they're so excited to take something new is because they want hope. They want hope that even though I've tried this and this, could this be that missing link of, hey, I'm still taking this stuff and I'm not feeling better? And what do you think is missing from that supplement side?
Are you feeling tired, foggy, or noticing poor circulation despite doing everything right? The answer might be hidden in your microvascular health. Introducing Revasca and Renew, two groundbreaking supplements scientifically designed to restore and protect your vascular foundation. Revasca revitalizes your circulation, supports heart health, and naturally boosts your energy by repairing your blood vessel lining, the glycocalyx. Renew complements this by providing deep cellular repair, resilience against stress, toxins, and inflammation, and enhancing your overall vitality. Together, Revasca and Renew offer the complete solution for lasting health from the inside out. Visit glycocalyx.com today to learn more about how these powerful supplements can help you reclaim vibrant health and lasting energy.
That's a loaded question. So there's a lot of things missing from the supplement industry. So let's just talk about the fact that the supplement industry is a $38 billion a year industry. And it's definitely an industry. Health is the craze. So people are producing, oh, get this, get that. You need this, you need that. And most of these are isolate supplements, first and foremost. So that means that they're isolated. They're synthetically made in a lab. First and foremost, our body cannot figure out what that is. If it's a synthetic or an isolated compound, it's not balanced in nature. So synthetic supplements really essentially are not bioavailable to the body. The body is like, what is that? I don't even recognize what that is. And it's actually causing more stress and toxicity on the body. So a lot of people that are taking like an over-the-counter vitamin, like a multivitamin, that is just clogging up your liver and hurting your gut. So we have to look at nature as balanced. Nature has never made a mistake. Like it really over and over, everything is balanced in nature. So when we look at supplements, I say they need to be derived from whole foods or natural compounds to really become bioavailable and balanced, where they're not creating an imbalance in the body. And then number 2 is absorption. Most people are taking loads of supplements, but they're not even absorbing, right? Their liver's too backed up, their gut is full of plaque and parasites and things. And so we don't even really go into that like big supplementation piece until we've started cleaning out that waste. Like we need to get mucoid plaque off the gut so the microvilli is actually absorbing the nutrients that you're taking. And then if you're going to take supplements, I think we do need supplements nowadays because our soil is so depleted. We're exposed to so many things, but supplements that come from food, like I eat whole food supplementation, essentially nutraceuticals or plant algae or completely like can be found in nature. Body can absorb it, recognize it, and digest it.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's exactly why I was drawn to Revasca. Unlike these generic vitamins, having something that's clinical grade nutraceutical that's specifically designed to rebuild and restore your body. With Revasca, it's designed to repair and restore that glycocalyx, that protective lining of the blood vessels. And so when you are doing that, it's also peace of mind. When you take something that restores the foundation, then your body can do what it was intended to do. And like I mentioned, after taking your course on parasites and that, I ordered Deliverance from that because you want something that restores. You want something that you can actually build on, not that you're going to urinate out and will do you no good. So
exactly. And that's I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of when we're having isolated compounds. Not only is it hard on the liver, it's hard on the gut, the body can't recognize it, but it often disrupts or bypasses natural pathways that are supposed to be taking place in the body. There's a significantly lower absorption. A lot of times I say to people, you have expensive urine. That's what you have.
Yes.
You're taking these crappy supplements.
You've got the most expensive urine in town. Yeah.
Right. And then usually a lot of the supplementation, it's like somebody's trying to target a deficiency. Let's say iron, for example. They're like, oh, I'm taking iron. My iron's low. Your iron's not low because you're iron deficient. Actually, your iron's most likely low because you have a mineral imbalance in the body and you have a parasite overload that's eating up your iron stores, or you have nutrient cycling going on. There's just so much misinformation out there. Isolate supplements wreak havoc on the body, and they're missing enzyme and cofactor support, which is the enzymes are the worker bees of every single aspect in our body, every biochemical reaction and action, every cellular action. So to me, synthetic supplementation is just always a no.
I feel like I need to give you a microphone so that you can drop it. That was a good mic drop moment right there on nutraceuticals and supplements. I love it. I know that you and I both had some personal health moments that really changed the course of our work. Would you be willing to share a little bit about your own health scare and how that regenerative tool helped you recover?
Absolutely. So I went under an elective surgery. Highlight the word elective because people are like, why would you do such a thing? But I'll try to make the story as quick as possible. I had a lot of abdominal trauma. So as a child, I had a reflex valve problem where the urine was causing infections in my kidneys. It was like routing the wrong way, essentially. And their solution was, I think it was 6 to 8 months of antibiotics. So I actually became immune to all these different antibiotics. And when I was 1 year old, nothing was working. The bacteria that I had in my body became a super bacteria. And they had to put me, I went under surgery. I ended up, that surgery didn't go well. I had a second surgery. After the second surgery, I sprung a leak. My abdomen filled with urine. I had a third surgery. So at 1 year old, I had 3 abdominal surgeries. When I was a teenager, I had an appendectomy. And as a woman, a wife, a mother, I have now had 4 cesarean births, regardless of trying to get mine all out vaginally. So I had scars on top of scars on top of scars. And one of the things I've learned in regenerative health is there are primary things that really affect our overall health. Toxins is one, absolutely. Toxins, endocrine disrupting toxins, all of that, chemicals. Parasites and infections is two. Parasites, infections, dental infections. We also have to look at, like all of these things matter in our health and our vitality. We also have to look at, we talked about flow, like the lymphatic health and all of that, but it's the voltage of your cells. How much energy do your cells actually have? Because if the voltage is low, the cell cannot carry out its normal repair, recover, detox tasks. It's on the battery's half empty. I need a battery put in. So a waste will accumulate if the voltage is low in the body. And then scars are a huge voltage depleter. So where there's scars, it's like an interrupt. It's like the flow can't get through in the body, and all the energy is going to this disruption in the force, essentially. Scars are not natural. Like I have a scar on my arm, even from when I had surgery when I was a kid. And I had a large surgery for shattering my elbow and breaking both my wrists as a gymnast. So lots and lots of scarring in my body. And most of it in my abdomen was building tons and tons of scar tissue that started to wrap around my organs. And they said I had an ultrasound at one point, a pelvic ultrasound, because it was like my knees and my hips were hurting. And what I learned is I had scarring wrapping around tendons internally that was like causing pain down my legs and like crazy stuff. And they said, if you don't get this removed, you're going to end up with a hysterectomy. And I said, that's not an option for me. So I started a search for a surgeon. And in America, I actually could not find a surgeon that would do more than abdominoplasty, which we know is a tummy tuck. I didn't want a tummy tuck. I wasn't looking for a cosmetic surgery. I was looking for to remove the scar tissue that was causing me pain and trauma and drama in the body. And luckily, through a very serendipitous connection, I ended up finding an incredible surgeon in Peru. And I went to Peru to undergo this surgery. It was a major surgery. I was under for 7.5 hours. So it was huge. And they meticulously cut away all of this scarring inside my abdomen. And that's what, I mean, they were so slow, so careful. They said they've never seen anything like it. I had yellow fibroid scarring, like scars on top of scars.
Oh, goodness.
Scars.
Yeah.
And scars is the body's way of building adhesions to repair trauma or damage. And they got all the scarring out, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. After the first surgery, I was brave. I didn't take antibiotics. Okay. Yeah. I didn't take them, but I signed a waiver and I did take something called nanosilver. And so it's a very high anti-parasitic, antimicrobial. It's actually stronger than antibiotics, but it leaves your healthy bacteria alone. And in Peru, they let me. They were like, you have to sign this waiver, but we'll honor that. Everything went great. Surgery went beautiful. I couldn't have been more impressed with the surgery and the results. I was like, wow, these surgeons know what's up. It was a man and a woman that did it. And Dr. Vanessa was my primary surgeon. She was absolutely incredible. But about 6 days later, I think I was walking too much. I was in Peru alone. I started to develop small internal bleed. Then that small internal bleed wasn't getting better. It started leading to my whole abdomen turned purple, like a little bit of blood between the skin and the fascia and the muscle, like no organ bleeding, nothing major like that. It was just trauma had happened. I had a lot cut out. So I started to bleed. That started creating like hardness, and I was purple everywhere, and my body wasn't reabsorbing it. And 10 days after the first surgery, they said, Carrie, we're so sorry, but you're going to have to go back under and we're going to have to drain the blood. So I had to get brought in for a second surgery where I was reopened from hip to hip. They drained the blood out, they put drain tubes in. And after the second surgery, that's when things took a turn. They said, I know you don't want antibiotics, but you have to take them because after a second surgery, you're so at risk for an infection. I cried. I was like, they had taken my blood, by the way, Joelyn, they took my blood right before the second surgery. And they were like, everything's perfect. There's no infection in your body. Everything looks amazing. And she was like, your nanosilver is working great. So I said, you just told me my nanosilver is working. Yes. Great. And so anyways, long story short is I let fear win. I said, okay, fine. I know I can recover from an antibiotic use. And I will just fold and take your antibiotic. That was a bad idea. I stopped taking the nanosilver. I started taking the antibiotic. Within 24 hours, I was covered in rashes and hives. Within 48 hours, I was swollen like I was pregnant. Within 72 hours, I was rehospitalized with a full-blown infection. So it's crazy. I was like, I'm on antibiotics and I have this crazy infection. What is going on? Then infectious disease came in and started mandating IV antibiotics. And that's when I lost it. I was full blown emotion because you're pumping like gasoline into your veins, right?
Yes.
This is talk about the vascular system. And my husband had to fly out to Peru. My kids were flying out, like things were happening so fast. It was not a fun time. And he said, Carrie, what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? Just take the antibiotics. And I was like, I'm on them. They're not working. And they were like, we need IV antibiotics. We need something stronger. I agreed to 5 days IV antibiotics and nothing was working. And so I actually flew somebody in from the United States to pick up everything from my clinic that I had, more nanosilver, more antiparasitic herbs, like you mentioned, zeolites, all this stuff. And I said, I'm doing it my way. And they let me. They were like, you do everything. They were so amazing. Dr. Vanessa, she met with my holistic doctor that flew out. Actually, it was Dr. Katie Eagle. She was my kid's pediatrician once upon a time. And then she took my institute program. And then she opened her own practice and she flew out. And we tested my body with kinesiology, response testing, ART testing. And I was able to come up with an amazing protocol for myself. So I was drinking.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I was drinking 1 to 2 bottles a day of nanosilver. I was taking Deliverance. I was taking a Rhizal Gamma antiparasitic herbs from Dr. Klinghardt. I was taking a parasite wormwood tincture, redox, all kinds of things. I was taking a bunch of stuff and they allowed everything in my room. They were like, absolutely take everything you can. And things got real scary. About the 3rd day on the IV antibiotics, I just was not getting better. I started ripping them out and they collapsed 9 veins in my arms overnight. My body's wisdom was so strong, Joelyn. It was like the IV would go in, fine. Then the antibiotic would start to go in. Within 30 seconds, my vein would collapse and start ejecting blood back into the IV. My body was like, we do not want this. We do not want this. And it kept, and so eventually I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this. We're doing it my way. And I just started dosing myself. And luckily I was in Peru and they let me. And it was day 3 or 4 of that 3rd hospital stay that I lost my vision. I hit 105 fever. And I remember slipping out of consciousness completely and like actually being in between dimensions and completely knowing.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, I completely knew I was dying. I was like, oh, I'm dying. Okay. I will tell you this for everybody listening. There's nothing but love outside this planet. It's just pure, it's just pure love. Like just drop into love and just imagine being wrapped in like a cloud of love. That's what's outside of here. So I was like, I remember saying, it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go. And the next thing I remember, there's this huge gap of time, hours and hours that I have no memory of. I couldn't see. I woke up on the shower floor. And I don't know how I got there. I was shaking. I had a crazy high fever. And I remember just coming into consciousness after hearing my son's voice saying, Mama, don't let go. And I'm going to get emotional, and he's 4. And I was like, oh my God, I came back into my body out of nowhere. And I remember having this insane pressure in my abdomen. Now I'm telling you, I looked 7 months pregnant, filled with infection. That's how bad it was.
Oh.
And I leaned forward and I said, I'm ripping from the inside. And there were paramedics everywhere. I guess they were about to transfer me to another hospital when this happened. And I leaned forward and my whole incision reopened and infection started pouring out of my body.
Thanks for listening to the Future of Vascular Health. Healthy vessels, healthy future. Ready to uncover what's really going on beneath the surface of your health? Take our quick Revasca quiz today. Discover how well your glycocalyx, the crucial microscopic lining of your blood vessels, is functioning. Revasca isn't just another supplement. It's a scientifically backed solution designed to naturally strengthen your vascular health from the inside out. Say goodbye to persistent fatigue, brain fog, and circulation issues. Say hello to lasting energy, clear thinking, and vibrant health. Go to www.revascaquiz.com now to take the Revasca quiz and start your journey toward better health today. Because protecting your glycocalyx means protecting your future.